Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So last night, the Bitcoin community was rocked to its core when Ripple overtook Bitcoin in total market cap, based on, of course, not circulating supply, which admittedly is hard to actually measure and know about. I think there are some ways and metrics that you can measure Ripple's released versus unreleased supply. I don't really care. If we look at Brave New Coin's market cap list, clearly you can see Ripple with its supply overtakes Bitcoin based on that metric. Okay. Whatever you want to look at, whatever you want to frame it as. Obviously, it makes for a very splashy headline for Ripple. It makes for a splashy headline for the Bitcoin Dominance Index, which I think is largely garbage anyway. Not because it's dropping below 50%, but it bears no impact on the current situation, even though I wrote about it and talked about it in a Bitcoin Magazine article, because you can't not talk about it. Because everyone's looking at it and thinking about it. People will frame it as Bitcoin's failed, the developers are infighting, blah, blah, blah. Most of it's just math. That's my argument anyway. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's get to the charts. I'm going to start with Ripple today. I don't want to, but that's what I'm going to do. So let's move to Ripple. We go to the naked chart. I'm going to start with singled cloud, but naked chart, first thing I notice, a descending volume with a rising price generally doesn't mean continuation forever and ever. So this is definitely reaching a point where I would be taking profit if you haven't already. The other thing you're seeing is a bear div in RSI, clearly getting a higher high here and a lower high in momentum. So that's volume in RSI. If we flip to 5200, that doesn't help you any in this time frame. That cross happened when it was at 400 sats sometime in March 17th, with most of the other alts, which was around March 17th. They had their 5200 cross on either the daily or the 4-hour time frame. You can see it bounced on the 200, and you can see now it's obviously completely in the stratosphere. 200 being 7200 sats, not out of reason that it would pull back to the 200 at some point here. Just keep that in mind. We go to the singled cloud, 1030, 6030. This is usually better for alts. It works better for the daily. It's been back tested, and it's much better for daily on alts, so that's why I try to use the singled with alts. So, you know, it had its pump and it's sideways. I was excited about this area because I wanted it to go back up into the cloud. That didn't happen. I was long in here, I ended up closing at break even around 2800, whatever it was. Obviously, in hindsight, that's an amazing entry for this. I questioned it at the time because this is obviously a Kumo breakout. Everything on the cloud here says green. Go. I did ignore it all because it's Ripple and I hate Ripple. So there's that. Another thing you'll see is this TK cross, recross here. There's another re-entry. You get a TK cross. Let's just shut off the price. TK cross, so that's your close. So here's your re-entry, close, re-entry here. No close signal yet. And it looks like it's going to break all-time high again quite quickly here. It's hard to really know. Let's see what I got on here. So it's hard to really know where this is going to go, but based on a few things. So I had a cup and handle here. Cup, handle. I know this is messy, but just bear with me. Let me shut off the cloud. And I'll shut off this too. Okay, cup, handle. You can see based on the fib, this did not retrace farther than 50% of the cup, which says it's super bullish. I'm not really sure what this is here, but it looks algo driven, as in a bot is driving this price here. On lower time frames, it looks like consolidation more than anything, but it formed a very nice handle. So the expected target, simply based on that, is currently where we're sitting at this level here. Again, the measured moves from the top of the cup to the bottom of the cup, projected upward from the breakout point, usually the horizontal. You could have drawn the cup with a diagonal here, and you would have got about the same target. The other thing I was watching is this giant triangle that was forming, which was either just a flag or consolidation. Anytime you see consolidation like that at the top of a trend, it's usually continuation. We turn back on volume real quick. You can see volume is just dropping, and then here's where you had your volume breakout. So it was a quote-unquote on-volume breakout above the horizontal, and it also broke the local high, all-time high, a few candles later, but this was a good enough entry should you have not been in any time before then. Let's cup and handle chart pattern stuff. If we go to the pitchfork, which is also on here, you can see this zone is also in this diag here. The next diag up the zone here would give you something immediately of like 2200, 2300. The 3618 fib is at 28246. We'll see. It's hard to really say where this is going to go because I don't know anything about Ripple. I don't know the fundamentals of Ripple. I'm super biased against it, as are most crypto people. It's got banks behind it, apparently, so have fun. But then lastly, again, talking about Heikin-Ashi as I do every video. If you've never seen any of these videos, everything about these videos are just learning how to trade, things you can do, ways to trade, okay? I'm always talking about color changes in an already established trend. The trend was already bullish, so you're looking for a red to green color change with momentum. So here's, you had the red to green color change. There was no momentum here. The candles were dojis, flat, spinning tops, whatever. This means no momentum in Heikin-Ashi. Here, 1, 2, 3, you start to get momentum, then you break local all-time high levels. If you weren't long based on the pattern down here, on this candle, could have been long up here. And just to show you with Cloud, Cloud would have had you back in before the handle even formed. So as far as targets are infinity or here, and support is 7K or something like that. Let me just check double Cloud real quick. I'd say between 7 and 9K. As far as support's concerned, which is essentially the bottom of the cup. The next support up would be 128 level. That's the break of the cup. So these support levels aren't rocket science. It's just always, where did it break before? Where did it support before? Again, this is all market memory stuff. Okay, that's enough on Ripple. Let's go to Bitcoin. The first thing you'll notice is the double top here, as well as the ginormous triangle being formed. I turned on Heikin-Ashi. You can see you've got 4 green candles now. It's in a consolidation triangle, so I generally don't take action until the lows break. Again, you want the Heikin-Ashi to show you, really it's better if you get no momentum like this and then momentum versus this snaking stuff. So this is either an M or a W or just a flag. It's too hard to really say what anything is here. It's just consolidating. It's nice that the oscillators are reset, so it's got plenty of room for up in that respect. If we turn on Cloud, you can see TK cross happened here. TK cross has not reoccurred yet, so if you were strong-willed, you'd still be long from 1190 based on the Cloud signals. You can see it almost crossed here, and when I see this, it's usually almost always continuation. When I do see it, it's on 5200 EMAs. So I added those EMAs, and what you want to be looking for is an edge-to-edge trade. Should it drop down? So should it break the bear side? Or continuation, which is what you should expect. Let me turn off the Cloud. You'd expect continuation. Again, you're looking at this triangle here, which is really close to breaking, trying to break. As far as targets are concerned, immediate targets, I'm just using fibs. Fib extension 1.618, 2100, 2128 on index, 2128 on index. That's just based on the most recent move. If we had a pitchfork to this, so we can draw the pitchfork a few different ways. I really like keeping the Bitfinex low on August there. You can draw it like this, which kind of makes sense. Again, you're looking for support resistance that lines up with price here. This makes a little less sense. It's already above that. So this gives us a target of somewhere around 19 to 2100 as well. And something like this gives us a target of 2100 as well. So that's what I'd be looking for, which is about $400 above here. I do like that it's chilled out for now. One thing I've been watching is a potential harmonic. It's kind of ugly. Looks like this. It's either going to be 886 or 1.217. So this is a bat-ish, and this will be the butterfly. 1.272, somewhere like that. So it kind of makes sense based on the support here. I don't like that, but it is what it is. These don't make sense within the given trend. I don't see us dipping this low unless something drastic happens. But those are part of the trade plan, possibilities. And if we draw 2 more harmonics here, really anytime you get a W or an M, you should be able to draw 4 harmonics. Would be bearish because you'd expect them to come down from here. So there's that, probably a bearish bat. Again, the points are loose, but if you want to make them perfect, you can. And 886 somewhere here. So again, another drop to 50%. Of the whole thing. It's set up for both of those. We'll see if either happen. The up target's 2100. Down target is basically this triangle point. Anytime you see a triangle point, that's a support. So we'll see. Another support here is this here. Kind of been nothing in this zone. That's why I'm just waiting, sitting and waiting for Bitcoin to make a move. Alright, so let's do ETH, XLM, GNO, and LTC, and we'll stop there. I've never charted GNO. I've never looked at a chart. I'm going to look at it live with you here today. Okay. XLM was bullish a while ago. I think I mentioned that in a video. I didn't do anything about it myself, but alright, Ethereum. Here we have Ethereum, and this wants to be, again, another cup and handle. Someone was arguing that this was a bit of an anomaly because this is when Polo was going down, up and off, and blah, blah, blah. Certainly possible. I don't hate it. Again, you'd be looking at something like this. Of course, everything's going to turn on here. I was watching this inverted Adam Eve with volume, descending volume on lower time frames here, which broke out to the upside. So that's kind of negated at the moment. The pitchfork still looks okay. Resistance here again. That makes sense. Should it hold? Expect to touch somewhere down here. Not much else to say on the pitchfork. The median line is definitely up here though, so I'd be watching for this. I don't really see any patterns here other than Adam Eve's. Again, Adam Eve is just a V and a U. You'll see it over and over and over and over again. All time frames, and it's usually double bottom. Can be a double top if you get a upside down V and U. We go to the 5200. It's getting squeezed between the two. It would be great if it could have a cross-recross on the 4 hour. That'd be a nice entry signal. We look at the cloud. I'm going to stick to doubled cloud for ETH BTC. I think there's enough data that it makes more sense on the 4 hour anyway. And you can see it's just sideways nothingness here. There's really nothing to comment on. Cloud is flat, but when it's sideways like this, that's not when you want to use the cloud. Cloud is meant for already trending markets. You're looking at, things like this, not things like this. Okay. Flipping to ETH USD, which actually has an interesting, more interesting chart, I think. I was looking at this descending volume profile with a triangle that broke up with a bullish TK cross above the cloud. No div per se. So I really like this for long. It's tapping the Kijun right now, which is the support of the cloud always and forever. So it's right where it could be for continuation. Heikin-Ashi doesn't tell you to get in here, but again, you'd be looking for sort of sideways momentum, and then I like 3 green candles, completely arbitrary, up to you. The downside here would be the edge-to-edge trade of the cloud, something like that. So that would be the expected downside, which would really just match this zone here. And I don't think there was ever a great pitchfork for this, so I'm not even going to bother. On its own, I don't know the history. I literally know 0 about XLM. This is on Kraken. And surprise, surprise, what do you see here on the chart? If you don't say Adam Eve, you weren't listening to the past 5 minutes. Again, Adam, Eve, and it's super, super rounded, which is usually a great sign. Something to mention about the Eve too. The Eve usually isn't as steep as the Adam. Usually it's above it a little, and it is here. Another thing you could say this is a ascending triangle, also a continuation pattern. I would not call this a rising wedge at all. So I expect this to keep going, definitely, just based on the chart pattern. It might be in outer space, but the chart doesn't lie, folks. Turning on the cloud. Cloud says, let's go, baby. TK cross, recross here. Everything's good. Again, your entry's probably all-time highs. Heikin-Ashi says it's been good for a while. It's kind of losing steam. So if you were long in here, one way to trade this, and if you were long here, your stop would now be here, depending on your leverage, obviously. If you're in 0 leverage, you can afford to hold this and just watch it for a few days. 5200 is crossed for where it was a thing, essentially, all the way down here. Tap the 50 a few times, tap the 200. Again, like Ripple, not out of the question to tap the 200 sometime, not necessarily in the near future, but eventually it's going to go back to the 200. That's how it works. There isn't really a div here. Definitely says momentum is slowing, but that could just be consolidation. You'll often see that, and people will falsely accuse it of being in a div. It's technically a higher high, but if you measure from the candle body, it's not really worth arguing about because it doesn't really matter. This is probably just going to keep going. So for GNO on the 4 hour, because it's only been around for 10 days, 16 days, there's not really much data at all to do anything with here, so I'm not even going to bother. You're not going to want to watch this on the 4 hour, I can tell you that. I don't really see anything much at all. It's just ranging. Cloud probably isn't even, it's got something going on. And the cloud is always wrecked when it's got these huge down candles from the open, so I'm not even going to talk about that. Let's go to Woke Rock, also known as Litecoin. Volume is definitely descending. Says there's some sort of consolidation happening here. I wouldn't call this an inverted Adam Eve, just a double top. And this is a definite bear div here. Higher high, lower low in momentum. You got volume was actually higher, so no volume div there. As far as the expected targets, again, all these up here, 027, 033, something like that. And yes, you can draw harmonic on this. It's got a double top, so why not? Let's do it. I'd probably start. And for harmonics, it's usually better if you turn on the sticky wick. I don't know what this is, if anything. Sorry. It's probably going to be 886. Something like that. That's around 011, and then it would be a bounce from there back up to 0178, something like that. 1.272, somewhere down here, somewhere in here, 007, something like that. That would be the butterfly. I'm going to call it a butterfly. So we'll see. It's there. I don't know. It looks droopy. This is a segwitted Litecoin, a lightning speed Litecoin. Speaking of Litecoin, thank you, Michael Kunse. Hope I'm not messing that up. He sent me a Litecoin tip the other day, so thank you, Michael. If you look at the 5200, you can see again it's trying to hold here at the 200. It's not a great sign for bullish continuation, but it could certainly bounce here and be okay, obviously. Cloud says do not go long here on this time frame. Everything is bearish, literally. TK cross, Cloud, lagging span. So Cloud doesn't like this. Something else this could be is a... Alright, so I checked, it's probably not a Gartley, so who knows. I'd just avoid I'd avoid this. Your targets are somewhere down here. You can see it's kind of Eiffel Towery in that it's went up and it's going to go down, most likely. Support is somewhere in this 010 level. If we look at USD real quick, go to Coinbase. I mentioned inverted Adam Eve here. Again, more of the same. Cloud says everything is bearish. It definitely has support here. It's trying to hold at this 23 level. Okay, if we look at monthly pivots, you can see it's obviously on the monthly pivot. The next target up would be 29. The next target down would be 19. That's all I have for today. I know I haven't talked about Monero in a while. It's death. Avoid it. It's at support if you want to take a risk. Dash also looks very similar to Litecoin, just lots of thick wicks. And it's at support, and it's either going to break or this is the bottom. Cloud says it's not the bottom for Dash or XMR, so I'm going to stay out if I wasn't already in, which I am. That's all I have for today. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. There were enough people who did not like the music where I'm just going to leave it off this video. Smash that donate button. Thank you for the donations. Oh, I got another, 0.1, whoever this is, rock on. Thank you. Lurkers, come out in the comments, and happy trading.